Hello, my friends. It's Rachel at Guilty Crow Tarot. I'm here to do your weekly reading on what's going to bring you some anxiety and how we can get through it. So, this week we're using the Golden Wheel, Denise Lynn's Sacred Forest Oracle, and Carolyn Miss's archetype cards. So, I thought we'd throw through archetypes in there and see who we might be dealing with this week as well. So, let's jump right into the reading. Here we go. Oh, and here's Hazel. Because, she always makes her entrance. So don't mind the cat feet in there. Apparently Hazel's going to come and hang out with us for a little while. So let's see what's going to bring us some anxiety this week. First thing moving in is the Ace of Wands. So we have some new ideas that are happening, well, new things starting, and I feel like that is going to make you feel a little overwhelmed this week. And it's interesting, we get the Fool in reverse. So that's telling me that there's definitely going to be some hesitancy to starting these new things. Even though, I feel like with it being the Ace of Wands, it's something that really fires you up, something that you're really interested in doing. With that Fool in reverse, you don't want to look stupid doing it, right? So being nervous to start something new is definitely normal. Although I have to be honest, the feeling of not wanting to look foolish doing it, everybody looks foolish doing something new, right? So don't let that be something that stops you. Let's just look a little bit deeper into this here. And we get the Hierophant in reverse. You're definitely searching for a teacher or a mentor, and that person is just not stepping forward. So you do feel maybe a little lost with this situation because you're hoping for something more, how do I say, not ritualistic, but you want more of a blueprint to help you figure out your way. And it's just not going to happen that way. Okay. With that Hierophant in reverse, you're going to be doing things that are definitely not by the book, not by, the normal way of doing things. That is going to be one of the reasons I feel like you're going to be nervous about looking stupid and, being worried about stepping forward. As I look at this Ace of Wands in particular, that rooster is very forceful looking. So this thing that's starting, we get that red color, that red ribbon in there. It's a lot of energy. This looks like it's causing some anxiety. And because you don't know the way to go forward, you're really scared to take that first step. Let's just see. How can we get through this, right? And it's so funny. We get the Judgment card. You are definitely being called to be your authentic you. You're being called to be that true self, to really delve in and see who you are as a person and, what you have to offer the world. So even though you're afraid to look stupid, please put that to the side because people are craving authenticity nowadays, with all these influencers and stuff like that out there. Nobody is perfect. Nobody's house is that clean. Nobody is that organized. Nobody looks that good all the time. So if I've had the camera on me, you would know that I'm 100% telling you the truth. And so anyway, with that Judgment card, be okay to feel uncomfortable. Be okay to be yourself. Don't worry if people like you or if they don't like you. There's always going to be a handful of both. Some people are going to just love you, and some people are going to be like, meh, I could take her or leave her. And that's okay because we're really only looking for our people, right? We don't need everybody. I always say it keeps the Christmas list down. So, how else can you help? And we get the Star in reverse. Now, how can that be helpful? I feel like it's telling us to don't have any expectations, right? The Star is a very hopeful card, and we're looking for all these wonderful things to happen. Keep your expectations very low this week, and I think that you will give yourself quite a bit of a break. Even though we're being called to be our authentic selves, that Star, like, don't overreach. Don't be trying to be perfect. Don't be too hopeful. Learn by doing things wrong, because that's the best lessons that we have. We only really remember the things that we screw up. And if life was so wonderful and we knew how to do everything right away, how boring is that? So be okay being that fool, be okay being the new person, the newbie, right? And we get the Queen of Pentacles, or the Queen of Wheels, in this deck, in reverse. So this is definitely the feeling of being okay, even though you don't feel okay. So you're going to feel unsafe in this newness, unsafe in this new venture that you're going on, this new thing that you're doing, everything. And actually, because it's the Queen of Pentacles, you're going to feel it deep in your body, right? Like the butterflies, the nervousness. It's okay. Allow that to be like that. We have to feel the fear and do it anyway. That's no big deal. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that, it's okay to be fearful. Courage doesn't mean that you're not afraid. Courage is being afraid and doing it anyway. That's true courage. So even if this is something small, as oh God, going out to dinner with people and you don't know them, it doesn't matter. Be you. They're either going to like you or they're not, and they're either going to be your friends or not. Like, who cares, right? So this reading could even be down to the smallest thing that you do this week. So what energy is going to bring us into the next week? So I have to say, I feel like the whole thing goes really well because we get the Empress. So even though you might have some foibles this week and it might not be perfect, it's okay. Let's lose those expectations, like we said, and we get the Empress card. The Empress is all about feeling abundant, feeling really good about yourself, really nurturing yourself and your femininity, right? Your ability to allow things in, allow things to nurture, allow things to grow. I feel like this situation this week is going to give you some confidence, and even little tiny baby steps can give you confidence. So, again, with that star in reverse, let's not push ourselves to these great heights. Let's just take baby bites, right? Because you will feel full at the end of the week and you're going to feel pretty good. And we also get the World in reverse. So, I love that because it's telling me that, you know, let me just say that these are all major arcana cards. So this thing that's coming up here, you're not going to get out of this one, right? Like, these are major life lessons. And I feel like this is a huge life lesson for you this week. I mean, all these are, well, minus the Queen of Wheels here. These are all major arcana cards. So just, you're going to have to go through it a little bit and just know that with the World in reverse, you haven't yet reached the end of this lesson, right? You haven't learned everything that you need to learn, so this isn't going to be just a 1 week, one hit wonder here. This is something that you're going to definitely nurture and grow and be excited for. The World is the last card in the major arcana. And that is when, you have reached a certain level and we can move on. Like, you've passed kindergarten, now we can go into first grade. You definitely aren't passing any grades this week, but that's okay because you're still feeling good about yourself. So let's just see what card brings us into next week. This will be the end of this week here. And we get the Page of Cups in reverse. So you could either be dealing with a difficult youngster, somebody younger than you, or a young person, or you could be, don't take on any new ideas going into the next week. Give yourself a time to deal with this new Ace of Wands. Don't put too much on your plate. Don't put too much in your cup. You might go into next week feeling a little bit depleted because we've had so much going on this week. That's okay. Make sure you take time for yourself and, nurture yourself, especially with that Empress. She's telling you to, eat right, drink some water, and give yourself some positive affirmations, right? You can tell yourself, I did pretty good this week. Now let's see what else brings us in. And we get the Frog Spirit, and that's renewal. So I'm actually going to read from the book on this one because I love it. I think it explains a lot about the reading too. It says, the spirit of the frog says, be willing to release any preconceived notions of how life should unfold. This is a time to be adaptable, be willing to change, abundance and good fortune will follow. I think that's really amazing because, again, when we look at this, this stern reverse, don't expect too much of yourself. The nervousness is really coming from how you think things should go. And, that's very rarely ever how things ever pan out. I love that frog spirit card. And it's a good time to get the frog spirit, right? Because we have spring coming up. And so I'm also going to pull here 2 archetypes of people that you might be dealing with this week. Now, when I look at these and I pull them in reverse, the shadow attributes are when I pull them in reverse. And so I think this is really interesting. We got victim in reverse. So we're going to look at the shadow attributes here. And somebody you're going to have to deal with this week is playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. So you're going to come up against a victim this week. If this is you and you're dealing with yourself and your own victimhood this week, which is definitely a big possibility, just know that you're doing that. I feel like self-awareness. I'm not a big victimhood person. I think that if you feel that way, we need to move out of that pretty quickly, right? But if you're self-aware that you're playing the victim, I think that that's way better because then at least you actually know that you're falling into that archetype, which, have your little pity party and then move on. Be strong, be confident, have courage. This could be also somebody else you're dealing with. I feel like you don't want to surround yourself too much with people like this because you're going to be going through such a difficult time, learning this new thing and putting yourself out there that anybody with negative energy this week is not going to be somebody that you want to deal with. And I love this one, even though it's slave and it's upright. And so we're going to look at the light attribute on that one. And that is surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. Love that for this week. It really fits in with the, rest of the reading of, this newness and coming in. Trust that you're going to do good. Trust that whatever is coming up and you have to deal with it, that you're going to do just fine. Knowing that, we have more to do with this little situation here. Trusting that you're going to be okay with this judgment card, that when you act, the way you feel like you want to act, you're going to act exactly who you are. Be true to yourself. Be true to your soul. Be true to who you are. That's going to be really important for this week. I really think that if you have 2 friends to pick from, you definitely want to be with this person here, who is surrendering to the power of choice in the divine. So if you're taking a new class or starting a new job or doing something new and you kind of come up with these 2 people, I think we should stay away from the victim and maybe go towards the person who is, trusting that the divine is going to lead them in the right direction. That's going to be the friend that you want to pick. If this person is you, ditching that victim and surrendering. I love the word surrender. I think we should all surrender. The only thing we can control is our own active thoughts. And it's important to know that, we are being watched over, even though bad things might happen, surrendering to it and knowing that sometimes the worst things in life can lead us to the absolute best conclusions. So I'm going to leave this reading here with you guys. If you have any messages for me down underneath there, you have any questions or anything like that, put it in the comments below. I want to give a big shout out to my friend Kim, who is always so good and watches all my videos. And I love you so much and I miss you and I hope you're doing good. And I will see you guys all next video. Have a great week.